For Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. Gaza health officials say overnight Israeli airstrikes killed at least 48 people in southern and central areas of the besieged territory. Among the dead, 14 children and 8 women, according to hospital officials. A medic with the group Doctors Without Borders was also killed. The death toll in Gaza continues to climb closer to 30,000. Wednesday, World Health Organization Director Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus called Gaza a death zone.
The health and humanitarian situation in Gaza is inhumane and continues to deteriorate. Gaza has become a death zone. Much of the territory has been destroyed. We need a ceasefire now. We need hostages to be released. We need the bombs to stop dropping, and we need unfettered humanitarian access.
Meanwhile, in the Israeli-occupied West Bank, Palestinian gunmen opened fire on morning traffic at a highway checkpoint, killing 1 Israeli and wounding 5 others, police said. The attack pointed to mounting tensions in the West Bank amidst the Israeli-Gaza war. On Wednesday, a member of Israel's war cabinet said new attempts are underway to reach a ceasefire deal that could pause the war in Gaza. However, Benny Gantz repeated his pledges unless Hamas agrees to release the remaining Israeli hostages, Israel will launch a ground offensive into Gaza's southern city of Rafah, where more than 1.5 million displaced Palestinians have sought safe refuge. It's day 4 of hearings at the International Court of Justice on Israel's 57-year occupation of lands sought for a Palestinian state, including East Jerusalem, the West Bank, and now Gaza. More than 50 nations are addressing the panel of 15 judges over the course of 6 days. Today, China's among the nations to address the court. Ma Jinming is a legal advisor.
The Palestinian-Israeli conflict stems from Israel's prolonged occupation of Palestinian territory and Israel's long-standing oppression of the Palestinian people.
Israel's built settlements across the West Bank, many of which resemble fully developed suburbs and small towns that in many cases lock Palestinians out of, creating a sense of segregation. Shin Min also told the UN's High Court Palestinians have a right to armed struggle.
Armed struggle against colonialism, occupation, aggression, and domination by foreign forces shall not be considered as terrorist acts.
It could take months for the court to make a decision, which would be a non-binding advisory opinion. President Joe Biden wraps up a 3-day tour of California today. Yesterday in the San Francisco Bay Area, hundreds of peace activists rallied outside a Democratic Party campaign fundraiser. Max Pringle reports.
Activists gathered Wednesday evening at the site of a $100,000 a plate Biden campaign fundraising dinner in San Francisco's Tony Pacific Heights neighborhood. The Palestinian Youth Movement's Rami Abdel Karim said the expensive fundraiser shows where the president's priorities are.
The city of San Francisco has overwhelmingly called for a ceasefire with a supermajority. And the fact that he's coming here to take money from people in our city, from wealthy donors, and is not paying attention to his constituents, and not only in San Francisco, but 66% of Americans who are calling for a ceasefire.
Pro-Palestinian activists say they plan to continue to push the Democratic Party and its leaders to call for a permanent ceasefire and to reconsider its support for Israel's war effort. For KPFA News, I'm Max Pringle.
Despite news an FBI informant lied, President Joe Biden and his son Hunter were paid millions of dollars by a Ukrainian energy company, Burisma. Republicans are still pursuing an impeachment inquiry against him, questioning the president's brother in a closed-door session Wednesday. Democrats say the impeachment should end. Alex Gonzalez reports.
There's while he's been president, I think that is the obstruction, the cover-up, and, of course, the sweetheart deal.
House Judiciary Committee Chair Jim Jordan is doubling down on allegations that President Joe Biden and his son Hunter had corrupt dealings with Ukrainian energy company Burisma. This comes as former FBI informant Alexander Smirnov has been charged with lying about the Bidens and working with Russian intelligence. Maryland Democrat Jamie Raskin says Smirnov's indictment destroys the GOP's already weak impeachment effort.
It appears like the whole thing is not only obviously false and fraudulent, but a product of Russian disinformation and propaganda. And that's been the motor force behind this investigation for more than a year.
I'm Alex Gonzalez for Pacifica Network and Public News Service.
The White House is considering using provisions of federal immigration law repeatedly tapped by former President Donald Trump to unilaterally enact a sweeping crackdown at the southern border, according to various media reports. The move has been criticized by Congressional Progressive Caucus Chair Pramila Jayapal, who blasted the move, calling it an extremely disappointing mistake. Cruel enforcement policies have been tried for 30 years, she said, and simply do not work. I'm Christina Onnested reporting for Pacifica Radio.